Are you still updating customer info in both your CRM and QuickBooks? Stop doing it twice. In this quick tutorial, I'll show you how to set up a 3-step workflow using Relay.app that syncs customer data directly from Airtable into QuickBooks. Whether you're creating new customers or updating existing ones, this automation has you covered. Let's walk through how to set up this automation, and we will have it set up in just a few minutes. Welcome back. I'm Zack from InnerDev Solutions. We help businesses streamline their processes using custom no-code tools so you can focus on what matters most. To learn more, you can visit our website, innerdevsolutions.com, or use the link in the description below. Let's get signed into Relay. If you don't have an account already, there's a link in the description below. In Airtable, really simply, I have a customer's table set up with customer name, contact name, phone and email, all those types of things. And I also have this QBO, QuickBooks Online ID, which is very important. And then a couple of other fields that are lesser important, but I like to pass the data in as well. And then I have a link to a primary billing address. Now, using Relay, you can only work with billing addresses. You can still go into QuickBooks and update the shipping addresses manually, but unfortunately, at this point in time, you can only work with the billing addresses using Relay. But if you already use Relay or you want to use Relay because it is relatively simple to get started with, it will reduce the number of times you have to enter the same data. And then within my customers table, I have a button. Ideally, we'll put something in the interface to make it a little bit cleaner, but this is going to be our trigger. We're going to tell Relay to start the automation based off of this checkbox. And then in the addresses, I just have the simple fields, line 2, city, region, and so on. And then it links back to our customers table. Within Relay, our trigger, actually first we're going to label this. So we're just going to call this add or update in QBO. It's going to be based on Airtable. And then we're going to set this to when either record changed or record first meets condition. Either of these will work. And from here, we have to go select our table. So in this case, it's going to be in the base add/update customers and in the customers table. I'll select the customers, and then the condition in our case is going to be based on this update in QuickBooks. We could set it up so that any update will trigger this, but what I like to do is make sure that I'm completely done making the changes, and then I can initiate the update within QuickBooks. Update in QuickBooks, if this is set to yes, and then right now it's not finding any data. If I want to initiate an update, I'll select this. I'll go back into Relay, select that little icon there, and we can see that there is now something that matches this condition, and it's just simply that update in QuickBooks is set to yes. We can go in here and add a new step. We're going to look up QuickBooks, and for both Airtable and QuickBooks, if you have not connected or authorized your accounts through Relay, you'll have to go ahead and do that. It is pretty straightforward. From here, I want to select QuickBooks Online, and I want to use this create or update customer. So depending on some conditions that we configure, it will either create a new customer in QuickBooks or it will update an existing one. There's a couple things that we're going to do. We're going to configure this condition. We're just going to select this customer ID. We want to make sure that it exactly matches the QBO ID. And then we're going to use this or. The other option here is based off of the display name. If the display name is exactly in line with the customer name ID that we have figured out over here in Airtable. Now we can add our fields to populate. Now this is just going to be a bunch of clicking, but essentially we just want to line up the fields in Airtable to the fields in QuickBooks. I'm just going to go through and add in every field that I want to match before I actually add in the data. So there's a few things I'm going to skip, like title and middle name, because I don't have those for the contacts, but I want to add in the display name, and we'll go given name, which is first name, last name. We can go company name, email, phone, and then every billing address line. So once I get that added, I'll come back and show you how to add in the actual values that are supposed to come in from Airtable. Okay, now that I have all the fields in here, we can go ahead and populate them. Display name, if I hit this little plus icon, I go find my record, and pass in the customer name ID. That's what I'm going to use as my display name. Given name, this is actually the contact. So contact first name, contact last name, company name. Now we're on to the billing information, and this is in a separate table. But if I click this plus icon, I can go into record and go to this primary billing address. I can just line up the line 1. We'll go line 2. And again, we have to keep going into this primary billing address because that's the table where this information lives. Same thing with city. And the last one here is the zip code or postal code. We'll go into primary billing address and find the postal code. I'm going to hit done, and I can move on to the third and final step, which is simply going to be an update record in Airtable. We just want to update the same record that we found. We'll add a field here. So update in QuickBooks, we just want to turn that off now. So we'll set that to no or false. Now that we've made the update, I want to pass in the QBO URL, pass in the ID, and the last updated. So really, if we are just updating an actual record within QuickBooks, the QBO URL and ID, those are not going to change. But when we create a new customer, those will get populated for us the first time. If we're doing an update, the only thing that will actually change is the last updated and setting this update in QuickBooks to the URL. It's just going to be customer URL and the ID. Go into the customer ID, and the last updated is just going to be based off of the last updated time. We can hit save and hit done. Now we can publish this trigger or publish this entire workflow, but I'm actually just going to test this using the start a test run. So the first one, I actually already have this customer that exists within QuickBooks. I've just changed this name, Adam Paulson. Currently it's set as something else. If I scroll down to the bottom, if I click into edit, I can see that it's right now Adam Johnson. We're going to change that last name. And now if I go back into Relay, we'll start a test run, and we'll just start the run for this select record. Now we can see this was successful. It created or updated, in our case, it updated the record in QuickBooks and updated our Airtable record. I'll go back into QuickBooks. We can see that this was disabled. There's the last name there that should now show up in QuickBooks. Because I didn't have it before, it updated the URL. It also updated the last updated time here that I can use for a reference. We go into QuickBooks, we'll go edit. We can see the last name was updated here. Now I'm going to give this another test run. We'll go back into Airtable. This customer does not yet exist. You can see there's no QBO ID or URL or anything. If I select that, go back into Relay, I'll go into the editor. And again, if I wanted this to happen automatically, this would just have to be selected on. And it is possible that it takes up to 15 minutes for it to actually run this automation. But I can just go ahead and run this manually. Now we'll see within a moment the record got created. We'll go into Airtable first, and we can go across. We can see that a new QBO ID was added, URL, and the update time. And now if I see Maple Renovations, we'll go into customers. I'm just going to give this page a refresh. And if I search Maple, as long as everything worked correctly, we can see that a customer was created here for us and using the actual address that we had within Airtable. This video is just really short and simple. It's a very easy automation to get started with if you're not familiar with automations, but it can also provide you with some value by reducing the number of times that you have to enter the same customer information across your systems. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for more tutorials in the future.